Hello everyone, my name is Raymonda Davis and I'm in the GEB 2214 Business Communications class. The instructor is Dr. Summer Garrett. I'm 45 years old and I'm at home today. I'm not working today. I'm a CNA. I've been a CNA for 15 years. I'm in the process of trying to get into the LPN program and bridge over to a registered nurse. I became a CNA in 2013. I have a daughter named Viola. She's 7 years old, very smart and intelligent. So I'm going to get on with my presentation after showing everyone my background, where I live at, and that I'm at home. So if you don't have the knowledge or the love, the care, the abilities to take care of someone, you're not going to love the medical field. That's what the medical field is. It's a very hands-on job, and you have to have the heart in order to do this job. Well, I first became a CNA in Syracuse, New York in 2003. I went to a job where I filled out an application to take a CNA class, which I took for 5 weeks. And then I took a job. They gave me a job position with them after that. I passed the class, got my license, started working for the company. So, and then on, I started out as far as the rate of pay in Syracuse, New York. In 2003, the rate of pay was $11 an hour. I worked 80 hours a week, plus I got overtime, lots of overtime. I would bring home, my gross pay would be $880 plus my overtime. I love the job. I love people. I love taking care of people. I'm always a person, when I complete my job, I'm there to help anyone that needs help with their job. I've always been a team player. So, moving on, I shall say, excuse me for this, I am a bit tired. I am trying to keep my words together, Dr. Summer. I love to go different places and work different places. Meaning, I love to work in different counties. I work for agency because I get to travel. Traveling does a lot for me. It gives me time to think and relax when I'm traveling, when I'm riding, as I'm driving. I go to different places. It's always new rules, different, a different boss you have to look up to. But no matter where I go, I'm always asked to come back because of the type of person I am. My job duties are to do patient care as far as feeding, bathing, dressing, even walking, any type of activity, and etc. Dealing with a patient. A patient will confide in you with some of their most important information and some of their most memorable moments. And the reason for this is because you're the person that they're around every day. So they know that they can depend on you, that you're there for them. But if you come in as a mean person to them or aggressive to them, they're not going to like you. They will specifically come out and say, I don't want that person taking care of me. Why? Because they're mean to me. You can't be mean to people. My thing is, as an example, you have to always remember, you want someone to treat you the way that you would treat them. Or should I turn that around? The way that you treat somebody, you would want people to treat you the same way. And two, if you had a loved one that was in any type of facility, nursing home, hospital, etc., you wouldn't want anybody to mistreat them. So you shouldn't do things to mistreat someone else's loved one. I've worked in nursing homes all over. I've worked in hospitals, and the difference is working in a hospital than a nursing home. Example, hospital first. When you work in a hospital, it's very, very, very fast paced. And by the time you start on one set of rounds, and rounds is going around checking on your people, changing people, making sure they're okay, if they need water, they need bathing, whatever it is that they need. By the time you finish one set of round, which you're supposed to go and check on somebody every 2 hours, it's time for you to start the next set of rounds. That's how fast paced it is in a hospital, and steady being busy. You in a hospital, you can catheterize somebody as a CNA. You can take accurate checks, which is blood sugar checks. You can you take vitals. You take vital signs on everybody. Any incidents like falls or anything, you have to report those things, and you will have to fill out an incident report as well. Besides, so you have a paper trail of what you told the person that's in charge. Working in a nursing home, example, you cannot catheterize anybody. You cannot take accurate checks. As far as like accurate checks, the same thing as a blood sugar check, checking someone's blood sugar. They will not allow you to do that. I don't know why, but the nurse is responsible for that in a nursing home. But like I said again, in a hospital, the nurses, they're going to tell you, no, you're responsible for doing these types of things. And going back, when you catheterize somebody, there is a little, you place the catheter where it goes, and as you place the catheter, you have a little small like opening where you would inject, like make like a syringe and inject water to blow a balloon up. It's like a little balloon. So if a person can hurt themselves if they agitate it or become violent, and they yanking on the catheter, and they want it out because they do hurt. They can hurt themselves by yanking it out if that balloon is inflated. When you're taking one out, you have to deflate that balloon first, like pull the water back out, and then remove the catheter. That's the safe way. And the biggest thing on being a CNA in the medical field, LPN, RN, it doesn't matter. I just take it everywhere I go. I'm very, very, very big on hand washing. Hand washing spreads germs. If you wash your hands, you're good to go. When you leave one patient, you're in a double room with 2 people in that room. You can't go from one patient to the next patient without washing your hands. You have to place on gloves. When you take those gloves off, you wash your hands, then you move on to the next person. I've been around people, work with a lot of people where I've watched them spread germs. Next thing you know, one patient has one thing, and then their roommate has it too. There's no way possible they could have gotten it that way without touching each other. That means whatever aide took care of them, they spread the germs between the both of them. When you come in someone's room, it's always you knock on their door, you pronounce who you are, you tell them who you are, then you let them know what you come in their room to do to them. You don't just come in and just, oh, hi, Miss Green, I came in and just start changing you. You can't do that. You have to let them know, because if you approach a person like that, you're going to scare them. Then they're not going to feel comfortable with you. They're not going to want you to touch them. they're going to ask for someone else. They might even become violent or maybe start screaming because they're scared. So always let them know who you are. Introduce yourself to them, telling them what you come in to do, how long it maybe would take. It might not take long. You might, if it's going to take long, you might have to tell them it's going to take a little while, or so on. So again, I love what I do. I've been wanting to be in this field for a long time. I was a teenager when I first realized that I wanted to be a nurse. But I took care of my grandmother, like helped take care of my grandmother when my parents would go to work on different shifts after I got out of school. And when my grandmother was, my great-grandmother was dying, because it was my great-grandmother, I knew then, I said, I want to take care of people. It's always been my passion. My long-term goal is to get my own group home, become a group home owner, and have my own patients to help them with everyday life skills. And going back, I started out, I said about the pay rate. Okay, the pay rate as far as being in New York, I stayed there a year, and then I moved back to Florida. When I moved back to Florida, I had to change my license over from New York State license to a Florida license. And when I did that, I took a job. Wow, when I took this job, I went from $11 an hour to making $9.90 an hour. I would take home, my gross pay, I wouldn't take home, but my gross pay would be $760. No overtime. So therefore, I took home less than $700 every 2 weeks and had to wait every 2 weeks to get paid. That was no fun. That made me get a part-time job because it wasn't, the pay wasn't enough, versus me having one job in Syracuse, New York. In Florida, I had to get 2. After working maybe, I'll say probably 6 months in Florida, I found out, a friend of mine that I knew told me about the healthcare agencies. I joined an agency that was called, oh my goodness, Amadon. And I went from there. They immediately started paying me $13 an hour. It was more than I was making in Syracuse, New York. But this was an agency. You got to make your own schedule. So I got to choose what days I wanted to work. If I wanted to go to work one day and work 16 hours one day, I could do that. If I wanted to work another day and work 16 hours, I could do that. If I wanted to work every day 16 hours, they had no problem with it. Everything over 40 hours in 1 week is overtime. I loved my checks. At the same time, I love meeting different people and being able to help and take care of people. Now, the downside of being a CNA is when you get attached to these people in these different places, and some of them, a lot of them get sick and they don't bounce back from getting down off sick. They die. That's the most hurtful thing anyone can imagine, and I've experienced it as a CNA. I had a patient where she died. They told me I had to go in and get her ready, meaning I had to wash her up, make sure she was clean and covered completely. When the funeral home people came to pick her body up, I tried to do it my very first time. There was no way possible I could have done it. I didn't do it. My body wouldn't allow me to do it It was just like this lady was my grandmother. I cried and I cried and I cried and I cried, and it was like I could not stop crying. They asked me to maybe take a break and see if I could come back. I did. They ended up sending me home because I just couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. And then it was 2 more other ladies. When they came on that day, I was down to work 16 hours. She died 11 o'clock that day. I went to work 7 o'clock that morning and was going to work till 11 o'clock that night. It's very hard. It's very hard touching. I came back to work the next day. Going in her room, it was very hard. But just that fast, it hadn't even been 24 hours and someone else was in that same bed that she was what she died in. They don't waste any time in these different facilities, hospitals, wherever you are. Someone else is in the bed as fast as you can come out of the bed. I am an honest, caring, loving, intelligent, team playing person. I love people. I love working with people. And I'm always, always there to help someone. It doesn't matter who you are, what color you are. It does not matter to me. I see everybody as one. Sorry for the gap, Dr. Summer, but as we're talking about the part for as a CNA, it gets really touchy for me a lot. And I'm trying not to leave out anything so you'll know exactly as far as getting, becoming a CNA. You have to have a you have to keep up like your CPR card. You have to have CEUs, and every time your renewal time comes up to renew your CNA license, you have to make sure you have all your CEUs up to date, which meaning you learn about blood pathogen, you learn about HIV, you learn about infection control, all those. It's a lot of different things. Dementia, Alzheimer's. It's just a lot of things that you learn about older people versus younger people when you become a CNA. A CNA is the one who's always around the people. We are the ones who notice every little thing, every little change in someone, and we're the ones to notify who's in charge when we notice a change in someone. If we see a person that's up and laughing and talking every day, and then one day you come in and they're just there, sitting there, and they're not talking, they're not really saying nothing, something is wrong with that person. It's best to notify the charge nurse, let her know, hey, Mrs. Such and Such, she's not being herself today. A lot of times, first they're going to check her vitals, then her blood sugar, to make sure all of that is okay. If it's not, the next step, they'll be calling her doctor, his doctor. Next step, hospital they go. So you have to pay close attention in your work environment. You always have to keep your eyes open. You always need to be near the post that you have, which, I mean, as far as like your assignment, we call them posts. Some places they have called like a post. Like you might be on post 1, 2, 3, 4, or they might say assignment. You might have assignment 1, 2, 3, or 4. So different places call it different things, but in actuality it's all the same thing. You always going to have to go by the rules and regulations. They don't tolerate not going by the rules and regulations. You can lose your license behind not following the rules and regulations being a CNA. So it's very, very important to learn as much as you can as being a CNA, because it will take you very far in life as far as becoming a nurse. The more you learn as a CNA, the easier it is to become a nurse. A LPN, a licensed practitioner nurse. Next step, registered nurse. And again, that's what I want to be. I'm not going to stop until I become one. I know school gets very intense and hard for me a lot of times, but my thing is I want to be an excellent role model for my daughter. I want my daughter to be independent like I am. I'm very independent. I really don't rely on anyone. I try to get things done on my own without any help, but sometimes it gets so bottled up, congested, till I have to ask for a little help as far as with my daughter. Schoolwork also. So being a CNA really is my life. If I wasn't in this field, I'm really not sure what field I would be in, because this is the career I chose for myself, and this is the career that I love. I want to say that it's a job that is very popular, meaning it's a fast growing industry. A lot of people be out of work, but in the medical field, I very seldom see people who don't have a job if you're in the medical field. If you don't have a job and you're in the medical field, a lot of times it's because someone got fired or they quit. And it is being brand new. I've seen a lot of brand new CNAs come in as a brand new CNA. They taking these fast-paced courses now, or either they able to challenge the CNA test, becoming a CNA, and they come in here and right out the door, and they don't know the first thing about being a CNA. When you say go in there and check such and such vitals, how do you do that? You don't know how to check vitals? Okay, this is how it goes. Then when they say, well, I challenged the test, okay, but you didn't get any hands-on experience. So I'm gonna give you my hands-on experience, not being rough or mean or anything like that. I just try to show them what I learned, because at the time I was a brand new CNA, but I did a lot of the same work that they showed me how to do. A lot of it I already knew how to do because I took care of my grandmother, meaning I bathed her, I changed her. She had briefs she had to wear. I fed her. I did all those things as a 13-year-old. So again, this is why I chose this field. It was my passion. And again, my long-term goal to become a group home owner and a registered nurse. Therefore, in my group home, I don't have to hire a registered nurse or LPN from the outside to come in and help with my patients. I can do it myself, because I intend on getting inside my group home and doing the work myself also. I have 2 other cousins that does the same thing as me, and I'm going to bring them on board once I open up my own group home. I've already talked to them about it and asked them, and it's a go. They're ready for whatever I'm ready for. So to anyone who's thinking about becoming a CNA, it is a good choice as a career. But my thing to anyone, don't come, my suggestion is don't come in and just get comfortable with it and stay there like I did. Because I got comfortable with it and stayed there. If I would have listened to my mom when she was trying to push me to say, Ramonda, why don't you just go on and become an LPN? Before I got my daughter, I know I would be a registered nurse by now. But I got real comfortable with the job, and then I took different jobs. I liked it, and I just stayed as a CNA when I could have been moved on, because we're in 2018 now. So again, don't get me wrong, I love my job. I love my job. It's not about the pay with me. With my job, when I go to work, I don't be worried about my money. When I go to work, I be more concerned about my patients. Who do I have? Where do I go? What is it that I need to do? That's all I need to do. And then I take over from there. When I'm done, who needs help? What haven't this person got done? Okay, Ramonda is on it. I'm headed to go do it. It's me. And anyone that's ever had authority over me, anywhere I work, they will tell you that I am a very, very, very good CNA. I would say to anyone, just focus and think hard about what goal you want to make in life. And if you're sincere about it, you will succeed in whatever you choose to make your goal. Make as a career for yourself. You will make it. You will make it. A lot of times in the beginning, I wanted to give up, because while I was going to school for those 5 weeks to become a CNA, I had a job in the afternoon. So 7 to 3, I would go to class. 4 to 11 at night, I would go to work. That was Monday through Friday. And then I worked on Saturdays too. So I only had one day. Some Sundays, every other Sunday I would work. So I only really had 2 days out of the month off. That was every other Sunday. I used to be so tired. But I knew I had to do it. I knew what it was going to take for me to do it if I wanted to become a CNA. And that's what I did. I took everything else, put it on the side, focus on what I wanted. So I say to anyone, I'm not going to give up on what else I want to do besides what I'm doing now. I have a goal, and I'm going to keep on pushing until I accomplish my goal. Dr. Summer, I pray that I did an excellent presentation for you, and this is what you wanted. And thank you for your time. Again, my name is Ramonda Davis. This is June 19th, 2018. Thank you, and have a good evening.